Are Dallas homeowners about to finally catch a break, or is it just smoke and mirrors? Well, the Texas Senate recently passed a plan to cap property tax hikes at 2.5% for larger cities and counties, while the House backed a slightly different version. Now, lawmakers are still working out a final deal, but either way, the change is aimed at putting limits on how fast local taxes can grow without voter approval. And that sounds like tax relief on paper. But here in Dallas, the proposed budget lowers the tax rate slightly while raising water and trash fees, adding about $70 a year for a typical homeowner. So your headline tax cut may still feel like a wash once the bills arrive. Now, I'm going to try to walk you through the exact numbers for a typical Dallas home and show why seniors with exemptions may end up ahead while others are left paying more. So it all starts with that promised 2.5% cap. So let's look at what it really means. All right, now many homeowners, the big question is why our overall costs don't seem to drop along with the tax cut. And here's how the numbers actually work out. Now, the city council approved trimming the property tax rate from 70.47 cents to 69.97 cents per $100 of assessed value. Now, that's a reduction by just half of a penny on the rate, which translates into a surprisingly small impact for most residents. Now, for a home valued at about $382,000, which is the city's estimate of a typical Dallas property, the change equals roughly about $13 a year in taxes saved. So while the rate cut might make headlines, it doesn't really make a meaningful dent in the average mortgage escrow. Now, where you do see a bigger number is with seniors who qualify for the expanded senior homestead exemption. Now, for them, this rate reduction can mean about $156 in tax savings over the course of the year on a fixed income. I mean, that could really make an impact for them, but those households at least get a tangible benefit. And still, even that more generous figure doesn't really tell the full story, because another line item on the bill is moving in the opposite direction. So in the same budget, the city proposed raising water and trash fees by about 4.6%. Now, according to estimates reported by the Dallas Morning News, that translates to an increase of around $69 annually for a typical household. So if we do the math, a median value homeowner gets about $13 back in lower taxes and only to pay roughly about $70 more in service charges. I mean, that ends up as the net cost of an increase of about $57 for the year. So for a senior with the exemption, I mean, $156 in tax savings minus $69 in higher fees still comes out to about $87 saved overall. So really, the advertised rate cut doesn't really give every homeowner the same experience. I mean, if you're a retiree with exemptions, you still come out a little bit of ahead, but I mean, not as much as the headline number that's implied. So if you're a newer family without any exemptions, it's entirely possible you'll spend more. Even in a year, the city claims it cut taxes. And that's exactly why these added services and those charges matter. They shift the balance in ways not every resident can see coming. But it also helps to understand that this year isn't unique. I mean, service-related fees in Dallas have been steadily rising for several years, and since the 2020-2021 budget cycle, water and wastewater costs have climbed about 21%, while sanitation fees are up around 31%. Now, altogether, that's roughly about a 27% increase in these basic charges in just a handful of years. So when the latest budget shows another 4.6% jump, residents are not just looking at a one-time adjustment, they're seeing the continuation of a steady upward trend. So think of it this way: if your rent drops by $10 a month, but your utilities climb by $50, I mean, you're not really feeling much cheaper housing at all. That's essentially the trade-off Dallas homeowners are facing right now. A shaved down property tax rate makes for a good talking point, but what matters is the total bill you actually have to pay each month. And when city leaders balance the budget by lowering taxes slightly while boosting service charges, I mean, residents often end up in the same place or worse, with a higher out-of-pocket cost. And of course, this brings up a bigger question beyond really the math itself. When people try to figure out whether living in Dallas is affordable, they don't separate tax rates from utility bills or monthly fees. It all comes out of the same paycheck. And that's why looking at the advertised percentage cut by itself doesn't really give you the truth that homeowners need. And what really matters is how those numbers combine in the bigger picture of household expenses. So the core issue is that property tax relief in Dallas isn't just about the rate the city council announces. I mean, to stay ahead, there are a few practical steps you can take right now. First, check the city's proposed budget and, if possible, watch the council's adoption meetings, the same sessions where they voted for a small tax rate cut but added higher utility fees. Second, you can confirm whether you qualify for homestead, senior, or disability exemptions, and note that Dallas recently raised the senior exemption from $153,000 to $175,000. And third, keep an eye on local ballot measures, since the legislature's cap proposals allow cities to ask voters for higher rates. And a little bonus, make sure that if you plan to buy or sell in the Dallas area, you work with an informed real estate professional that understands how all of the property taxes will affect you before, during, and even after your move. And of course, that's a shameless plug because my team can help you do that, of course. And if you want to know what your home value is worth, you can check the description or scan the QR code on the screen. We'd be happy to help you make your next move if possible. And check out this video on the International District. I mean, it's really getting a lot of attention.